So this one, I am conflicted. It gave me a lot of feelings. There was a lot of things that I liked, but I realized that I might like them for the reasons I would have written them and not the reasons that they're there. So let me explain, right? So, for example, the king and Alicent. She seems to be content with her station. Obviously, Rhaenyra is not. And that seems really interesting and deep. It's something that I really want to get into as a viewer. But all that's happening is that they're not talking anymore, and that's about it. You know, it's interesting because apparently some years have gone by. I think 2 years, maybe 3. And so it's like, okay, so you just jump ship really quick instead of letting us see a little bit of the emotional turmoil, then doing a time jump. You could have done it in this episode too. There are also scenes that I didn't really care for that you could have switched out. Like, let's see the aftermath of what happened after the engagement. Then you skip forward to the first pregnancy. Then you skip forward to there being a son. Then you skip forward to now. That's like a good 10 minutes worth of content, or 20 if you really want to get a little bit in depth. And then you go back into the rest of the 40 minutes to an hour. You know? Let's just bring it up. So the king, he's having trouble finding Rhaenyra a suspicious match. And she feels like the only reason he's trying to match her is because he wants her to step down as heir, which is weird because the only person who's saying that she's not going to be heir is everyone else, not her actual father, you know, the one who makes the decisions. You know, like, the person who's actually making the decisions has never said that. I know that you can have your own personal doubts in your head, like, oh my god, I have a brother, what am I to do now? I get that, but being mad at your dad, like, how is that supposed to help him pick you? Like, let's just be honest there, right? Like, let's say her dad really was struggling with the thought of keeping her as the heir or using the son, right? With you acting all harsh and non-hospitable or whatever he was saying, how is that supposed to make him be like, oh yes, my wonderful daughter? Like, at this point, a malleable little boy would end up being better than you, because at this point it would just end up being, you would be shooting yourself in the foot. Okay? You would be shooting yourself in the foot, and I don't really know how you'd be able to help yourself with that. Like, I get it, you're upset, but this is what I'm talking about. She's 17 now. The kiddie excuses, they're not there anymore. Like, be tactful. Be tactful. Like, you can't, you know, just be bitchy the whole time and then be like, oh, but my dad has to love me. Like, no, he doesn't. He really doesn't. Like, your dad doesn't have to do anything. He's the king. You know? And the way that I think of it, right, and the way that it is presented to me, it is that Rhaenyra is having internal conflict. And I thought it was really interesting that for her, it was like, I don't care what you have to say to me, Alicent. It's like, what I thought they were going to do is that they were going to make it be like, this girl was my confidant, my friend, and you took her away. You know? And I thought that was interesting, but they never really dived into it. And so I ended up just feeling like, okay, I guess they just alluded to it. You can't just allude to depth. You have to solidify it. You can't just be like, for example, yes, this person was actually assaulted, but then we don't have a thing or two to ground us in that revelation. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me personally, you know? Because it's like, okay, so this happened to this person. So what? You know, like, it makes you care a lot less. Even worse, Alicent, like, she just went from somebody who looked like she really wasn't trying to do this to somebody who, like, is happy where she is, but, like, the only uncomfortable feeling is that her father is trying to push her to ensure that her child is the new heir. And it's like, so we really don't get to see what's really going on, or were those gag-worthy scenes where you forced their commonalities supposed to mean that she, within 2 years, would have been fine marrying him? Like, maybe at first she was a little apprehensive, but it's a duty that wouldn't feel like a duty because she has stuff in common with him. Like, no, ew, gross. I'm not saying that she has to, like, hate him and wants to kill him in his sleep, but, like, she's already having a second baby. Like, she had a kid so quick. Like, I would just like a little bit of background. It's okay if after 2 or 3 years she's over it now, but the fact that she went from, like, when he announced that he was going to pick her as his bride-to-be, she didn't look happy. So you can't just throw all that away and be like, oh, well, she's queen mother now. Like, what the flying fuck? Like, excuse me? And that recontextualizes the relationship between her and Rhaenyra, and you guys are not really making us see it. You're just, like, showing that they're not talking anymore, but Alicent wants to, but Rhaenyra would rather not. And it's like, okay, that's good, build on that. It's like, and I was gonna say this as a joke because I felt like I was wrong, but after the ending of this, I'm like, no, I wasn't. It's like, it's an hour-long episode, sometimes an hour, 10 minutes, or whatever, or sometimes 40 minutes, close to an hour. It's so long, and they put so much in there, but they don't have time to develop everything. It's like, okay, I see the seeds, and it's interesting, but where is it going? Where is it coming from? Can I see what you're trying to do? Are you going to plant these seeds, or are you just going to give me some half-eaten fruit? Whatever. Otto Hightower is gross, disgusting, and needs to be dismantled. I don't care if it's by Daemon or somebody else. I don't like him. Him insinuating that Rhaenyra should just get with her 2-year-old brother. I know it's not get with, it's they're betrothed, so when he comes of age, then they'll marry or whatever. And it's crazy because in one of the last videos I made a joke saying that she's lucky that her dad didn't pick her as his new wife if he was going to go full monarchy, only for Otto to put that in there. Luckily the king doesn't listen to him. And here's the thing, the king, a lot of people is like, oh, kings never listen to their right hand man. What's the point? It's like, no. Back in the original Game of Thrones, those right hand men knew what they were talking about. Otto, he's just all for himself. And to be honest, what he said made a modicum of sense, but not much in terms of him wanting his grandson to be a part of the throne. So the only way to get that would be to get her out of the way. And this marriage is some sort of half-baked Alabama doohickey way of doing that. But, like, he's not very sensible. It's like he was smart enough to shove his daughter in the side so that she could be queen. But like, unless it has to do with him directing Alicent, he's just not as sensible. So it's like, no, it's Daemon versus Otto all day, and Team Daemon over here. The king, he had a few revelations. He didn't name Rhaenyra heir to the throne only to get Daemon away from the throne. He did it because he felt bad about what he did to his wife, which is very interesting. Okay, so it was kind of like a consolation, like, okay, I technically killed my wife, so this is what I have to do to make up for it. She's always, wanted to have responsibilities of a firstborn. That's how they're framing it. They're kind of doing forward and backwards, like, she wants this, but she doesn't want this. Like, stay firm in your narrative so I can either get behind it or not. Okay? So, he confesses to Alicent over the fire that, everybody's just expecting him, now that he has a son, to feel all conflicted, and he doesn't. He still wants Rhaenyra to be queen. But here's the thing, he never says why. Alicent says she'd be a good ruler, like, she kind of alludes that it wouldn't be a bad idea. But when it comes to the king, he's just kind of like, yeah, because she's my firstborn, yeah. And that's kind of flimsy for me. Because even though he's standing tall in it right now, like, I'm gonna stand tall, it's still like, okay, but you're not giving me any reasons as to why, apart from her firstborn status, which to me could mean that if somebody gives you a decent enough reason, then like, we're fucked, right? Ooh, let's get to the Valerian boy. He fine. He fine as fuck. Ooh, my god. I was starting to say, watching this episode, seeing all the men, like even Sir Cole's, like he not looking as fine as he looked in the first few episodes. So I was just like, oh, all these men looking ugly as hell. And then here comes Sir Corley's son. I was like, I don't really like Sir Corley, but his son can get it. Apparently, I think that's the son that the Baratheon guy, or the second guy who gives the king counsel sometimes, who seems to have more sense than Otto. He said maybe that would be a good match. I'm very intrigued into whether or not, because it looks like if she's gonna pick, she might end up picking Sir Cole, right, Rhaenyra. But that other guy is pretty attractive. However, it's her cousin, so if she doesn't pick him, I'm not gonna be fussy about that, because do you? However, what else? Yeah, that was interesting. Let's get into Daemon now, because I don't really care about anything else. Daemon went out on a one-man siege and almost died, and then, his team came to back him up, and then he killed the Crab King. So, Daemon is still best character confirmed. I don't care if his motivations are fucked up and he's violent. Like, yeah, do what you gotta do for the throne. For the throne challenge, for the throne. Look, I love Daemon. I love that whole scene. He did that, and I respect him for it. Lord Corley's brother, Lord Rory or whatever his name is, he needs to go. Like, no mutiny against Daemon, none. He needs to go. Okay? What else do I want to talk about today? When Rhaenyra was alone with Sir Cole and they fought the boar and then they found the white stag, it was a lot of imagery that showed that, like, she was the chosen one sort of thing. Like, they couldn't find the white stag, but the white stag found Rhaenyra. And in that scene, I was hoping that she would have killed the white stag. If she's like Anne and she doesn't want to hurt animals, that's one thing. But, like, she killed the boar, so why didn't she just kill the stag? I thought it would have been a great show of power for her to walk in with the white stag, either riding on its back or carrying its carcass, to show that, like, to all these men who are sitting here thinking that my brother should be king, look at what I just did. A power play, like if we're gonna lean into this woman empowerment slowly but surely type of thing, then make her do something cool. It can't just be that she just pouts and sullies and then her dad just gives in. Like, that's so fucking boring. Like, I want her to show some intelligence. I want her to show some forthright. Even if it was Sir Kristen that killed it, right? And then she dragged it in. It still found her. It's still a sign of something. Right? Right. Like, I was thinking about that. And I was thinking about, the fact that, like, if they're not gonna update her character, because, like, it's a time jump. So, like, maybe an episode ago I couldn't say anything because she was a little kid, but she's 17 now, which is practically adulthood in those olden times. I want to see more of her cunning, not just more of her, oh, obviously she might be able to fight because she's always fighting her dad. Like, come on. Show me something to make me get behind the narrative that you're trying to show. Because if it's just some regular girl who has slightly above average intelligence and then she just becomes the ruler and nobody can beat her because of plot armor, I'm not going to like it. You need to show me that she is more than just plot armor main character. Okay? Just do that for me, please. It's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal. Oh, also, caveat, the Lannisters showed up. I was like rolling my eyes the whole time. I don't give a fuck about no Lannister. Fuck the Lannisters. Who cares? Yeah, I think that's about it for now. Anyway, see you in the next week's episode. Hope it will be even more exciting and hopefully we get more backstory into Alicent and Rhaenyra's feelings, because that's all I want to fucking see right now. Anyways, see you in the next episode, my loves, and may the Seven Kingdoms be with you, I guess. Oof. Anyways, goodbye, Simmers. Sue.